Okay, I think recording already started. Okay, so perfect, I see that everyone can hear me and sound is okay. So let's move on. And if some new people will come, I see Yvonne. Yeah, welcome to the classroom, Yvonne. So let's jump straight to the material. Again, I have a habit, and I don't know what kind of structure you use or you used to have maybe in your training sessions. I usually go through certain particular sequence. In our case, I will do it very fast, but nevertheless, I would like people every single time to reinforce by repetition. Yeah, so reinforce what you already know. And for example, if you come for the first time, I think it's very useful to see what we have been doing so far and what's already done. Yeah, so very briefly, let me just move sliders. Okay, let me take that stuff out. All right, so we are going to be covering today the positive intention and the redefining reframing patterns. And you will see that we will cover those patterns already in the frame of using in certain particular process. Last week, the topic was like a 4-step chaining technique. That's a technique which usually in NLP we use in order to work with our client, changing and reframing his particular belief. Usually we are choosing for some limiting belief, of course, and we use a 4-step chaining technique in order to move and shift current belief, limiting belief, to the new empowering, or new belief. And what you will discover if you were present in the previous session, you probably already noticed that we are using 2 types of reframing patterns in order to implement that 4-step chaining technique. One of the pattern will be, you will see how it's done, positive intention pattern, and second one is redefine pattern. So today we are going to be more or less doing the same thing, but emphasis will be on learning and understanding what those patterns are. Yeah. So how you can use them, and how to implement reframing patterns in a very kind of natural conversational manner. Yeah? So as you can see on your screens right now, positive intention and redefine reframing patterns will be the topic for today. And again, I want to see how to say it and show to you the big picture, because all that pieces, all that webinars so far, I think today is the 7th or 8th webinar already. It's a part of the much bigger theme or topic, conversational reframing. And not just conversational reframing as we know it in NLP, but conversational reframing adapted to coaching, because there are some differences. Yeah. Okay, so material, you will find that particular material which I'm using right now for our sessions in Robert Dield's book, which called Sleight of Mouse. So I highly recommend it, and you could find lots of interesting pieces in that material. So in order to be effective, please spend 30 seconds, look around, and make sure that you are out of any possible disturbances. So if your mobile phone is not on silent, please make it on silent. If your programs, I don't know, social media or whatever, popping up, or email programs are open, yeah, I would just advise you to, just for one particular hour. I don't think it's going to be kind of end of the world if you for 1 hour not be kind of drawn to all those disturbances. It's going to help you to focus and to digest this material more efficiently. And again, few words what we are doing, what we do right now, and all those webinars which I'm running. I started 2 months ago to run this particular sequence of webinars. It belongs to, or it will be part of the Headway Learn and Practice Laboratory, or Learn Practice Lab. And just want to make sure that that particular Thursday webinars related to coaching growth, where you could participate, you could get piece of information related to coaching practice, and you could implement it pretty much next day, yeah, in your work with your clients. So the idea of Learning Practice Lab, first of all, it's free of charge, there are no payments involved, unless you would like to do some additional things, and I will explain it in September. So far, we haven't even introduced the paid option, but it will be. But that particular, what we do now, it will be free, kind of without changes. So attending webinars and having information and getting some material which is already developed up to a certain level, where very much digestible, very simple. At least I'll try my best. Whatever complicated material is going to be, I will try to make it in a very kind of simple, digestible, form. So you could, the idea is just after that webinar, you're supposed to be ready to implement it in your next session with your next client. Yeah. So that's the whole idea. And I would like you, please consider to join our Headway Coaching, LinkedIn group or Facebook or whatever, just not to get, just not to lose our connection, because in LinkedIn, for example, we do some additional things. Recently, I invited people to join LinkedIn group in order to improve their social media pages, in particular LinkedIn pages. And yeah, so please consider, because you will be, everything what we do is about improving your coaching practices from 2 points of view, or from two-sided side related to coaching growth or your skills and professional level. Another side is business level. So lots of things what we will be helping you to do is to improve your coaching and business sides of your practice. All right, so let's jump to the today's material. We will be talking about, well, I plan to talk about belief change cycle, but I think maybe I will skip that chunk. We will jump straight to the positive intention, to redefine a reframing pattern as a part of the process which we started yesterday, last Thursday. Yeah? So we will be covering intention and redefining pattern, and we will be completing the 4-step chaining technique, how you could implement in order to shift current belief to the new belief, yeah, to desired belief of your client. Oh, that's it. So let's move. Well, classical thing which I usually do, I'm gonna skip this time, this particular session, because I don't think we need to do it every single time, because still we are losing a little bit of time. Those 4 questions which I usually ask participants, they are good, but when we have just 1 hour, yeah, I think time to time I will just skip that particular part. Normally, when I have 2-3 hours kind of training sessions, I would definitely go for it, because it will place you in a more resourceful state. Usually, I ask for questions. What do you already know about the topic? Yeah, or what kind of state you would like to be, because we all have some idea what our resourceful states are, and for different people, those resourceful states connected with different words, different images, different submodalities, different feelings, and so on. Yeah, and so it's nice to maybe work with your audience to a little bit in order to help them to be in a resourceful state when they are about to learn something, because it's going to improve their learning. I ask why they're interested in this particular material, and last thing, what is the plan for them to learn, how they're going to maintain and practice it. So those 4 questions, they setting certain particular kind of mindset, yeah. And if you do it before your training session, I think it's going to improve. And right now we are going to skip it just for the sake of saving time. Yeah. But for example, next week I will go again through the process. Just this session, I think it's fine. Majority of you already went through the process multiple times. So in terms of what we've been doing so far, well, again, I'm gonna spend literally 2-3 minutes, not more. But I think the useful thing about that, see what we've done so far, because somehow that material, at least I designed that material in such a way, in such a sequence, that it will be coinciding with your normal behavior and your normal strategy as a coach when you work with a client. So what do I mean? Well, the client comes to your session, yeah, and usually come with certain particular problem or certain particular thing which he found difficult to reach, yeah, or of course it depends on what kind of words does he use as a problem or as a goal, because the goal, if person's set up in a frame of goal achieving, it could sound already maybe positive. Yeah, I want to be there, I want to achieve this particular thing. Or maybe client come to your session having certain problem in mind, then it's going to be different set of words, and the same journey, from client point of view, will look like description of the problem in any way. So what usually we do, we investigate the point where the client is. So that's what the starting point is, to investigate precisely where is my client. So how he think about that starting point. What kind of words does he use? What kind of set of beliefs he has? So as a result, you will be listening for beliefs in that particular starting point, not just listening. So now we move to the material which we already covered. Yeah, we know that belief, according to the definition which we covered in the previous session. So you will be, when you listen for the way your client talks about situation he has, what we will be listening is the part related to causalities. Yeah, so something will lead to something. That's a connection which we call causation. Yeah, one particular thing somehow leads to another thing, and that type of connection we call cause-effect type of connection. Another type of things which you will be hearing as a coach is that one thing will mean something. It's not a cause-effect type of connection, but it's meaning. Yeah, we call it complex equivalent type of connections. And as soon as your client will be describing where he is or what he think about certain particular situations, those types of connections that one leads to another or one means other you will hear it all the time. Let me have an example. Someone says that, well, yeah, again, right now my example will be kind of already from limiting point of view. Yeah, so I will refer to some. For example, my client says, well, it's always like this, and he said those things, and or it's always like this. Some particular person does certain things. Yeah, so what my ears as a coach were able to hear is that it was always like this, and by like this, probably it means some kind of negative stuff. So if you would hear that particular part, guys, I would like you to think. You please look at the screen and tell me it was always like this. What kind of connection? Of course, by mean it or we already having in mind certain particular behavior, whatever. Right now, I'm kind of having educational part of you. I cannot go into the details. If you talk with a client describing situation, certain particular people behave in certain particular way, and he said, that thing always was like this. And there are two types of description. What do you think? What kind of connections our client reveals? Is it causation or meaning? Please, yeah, guys, whatever you feel like. Sometimes and very often you will see that I'm asking information maybe you are not even able. I just want you to think and to produce your opinion, and don't be afraid, because it's not about right or wrong. Right now we are learning, and you will see later why I'm asking that particular questions. What do you think? Just what comes to your mind? What do you think? Is it a causality, or it's a meaning, or it's something else? Like we call it boundaries. Yeah. Okay, I see different. Okay, perfect. Causation, Svetlana. Meaning, Iran, and no one else is typing. Seems like meaning to boundaries. Okay, Asama, perfect. Well, it's true. Actually, when someone describe you that it was always like this, well, it's somewhere between borders, because in order to define precisely, we need to ask several questions. But right now it comes to description, and there are some like limitations, comes to the usage of particular words like always. Yeah, for example, that's one of the generalizations which usually lead to limitations. Yeah, and well, when we are talking about certain behavior was always like this, well, this is the part which could be between two worlds. Yeah, it could be causality, it could be meaning. We need to ask first several questions, and that's where questions come along. You see that when we are describing how belief, the full belief statement, is supposed to look like, it's supposed to have both parts. You see that there are three elements. When the whole belief is fully elicited, it's supposed to have a between first and second part kind of cause-effect type of connection, and the second and third time meaning type of connection. Well, what exactly is our part is not quite clear unless we ask several questions. Yeah. So how do you know that? It's the first question, and what causes it to be that way? So if for example someone says, well, it was always, it was always like this. Well, what do you think caused it to be that way, that it's always like this? And then our client will come up with questions. Yeah, and you could ask question, well, if that always was like this, then what does it really mean? Yeah, so we are moving that person towards eliciting the meaning type, and as a result of those questions, we could repeat those questions multiple times, and we'll see how your client will come up with lots of additional information, and all that information will be related to meaning and causation. So as a result of that particular questionnaire, yeah, literally 2 questions, you will be eliciting additional pieces. And what you will discover if you do it thoroughly, that you will discover multiple additional connected beliefs. We call it belief cluster. And if you check our previous sessions, we've done already some demonstration how it need to be kind of executed. So I'm not going to spend some time, but you see that material is pretty much what you do during your coaching session. First, you investigate where your client is. You pick up certain particular, statement which you think has a, I would say, potential, for like an iceberg, yeah, like a tip of the iceberg. And you start digging. Yeah, you will investigate what other beliefs are connected with that particular one. As a result, you will be eliciting belief cluster. And by asking simple question, yeah, how do you know that, or what causes it to be that way? You could ask it several times, and as a result, you're going to get belief cluster, And yeah, as a result, you could already see what kind of, because depending on the how beliefs are structured, you could already see what kind of level of complexity you could expect from certain particular limiting beliefs. We covered material in the previous sessions where you will be pretty much aware of the hierarchy of those limiting beliefs. Some beliefs will be kind of like residing in a level of identity. Yeah, the beliefs which almost belongs to the worthless area. You see that on the bottom of this site, like a three areas of limiting beliefs. The worthless right now it's in the bottom, but it doesn't mean it's in the bottom. It's actually in a logical level system. It's on the top. Yeah, it's the highest and most kind of sophisticated area of identity. So when it comes to hierarchy of limiting beliefs, you will immediately hear where it belongs to. If it's in the area of identity, so it's like a worthless type of a limiting belief, then you in your mind kind of place it in a level of identity. If it's hopeless or helpless, yeah. Tell me please, guys, helpless and hopeless, which is higher? By higher, I mean belongs to the higher level of organization. Usually it means that it will require more energy and more work to reframe that particular belief. So which one is more higher, hopeless or helpless? What do you think? Hopeless, Yvonne? Okay, worthless, yeah, worthless, yeah, that's for sure. Okay, hopeless, perfect. That's true. So helpless is, I wouldn't say it's like easy to reframe or easy to work with, but it's in terms of hierarchy, it's on a lower level. It means that you'll be dealing with, with a level of capabilities, level of behaviors, yeah. And when it comes to higher work, hopeless, that's already, you will be dealing with a level of values and beliefs, yeah? And higher level is worthless. So that's again, as soon as you will be working with a client eliciting that cluster of beliefs, you'll see already where the hierarchy is, where to start, and then after all that investigation, you will decide that, okay, I will be working with that particular statement. So that's where you, again, the coaching and NLP, it's not precisely the kind of math, yeah. You need to, there is a little bit of art involved. So you need to make a choice where your intervention, which one from that cluster you're going to pick up as the entry point, the point for your intervention, the point where you will be applying your reframing techniques. So you choose certain particular statement. Yeah. Oh, and well, we also covered several procedures. I'm not gonna, you see it right now on your screen, but we covered two types of, or two ways how you could kind of investigate that cluster in a more thorough way. So one way is the asking 5 questions. We call it motivation assessment, which will give you already clear kind of indications where those limiting beliefs are hiding. Another way of working with the clusters using connectives, again, we covered in the previous sessions. So you see right now the screen of multiple connectives, and we use number of questions in order to elicit those clusters of beliefs. So right now I just mentioned it. I'm not going to go for it. If you're interested, please take a look on the previous sessions. But last session we moved into the area of, okay, we are working with certain particular statement. Finally, after thorough investigation, after sensing the where hierarchy of beliefs kind of forming, and we choose certain particular statement, and now we are going through the process of intervention. We decided that, yeah, let's work and let's change that particular belief to the new one. So that's where we were in the last session. And I ask, thank you, Asama, thank you very much. Last time we we use some kind of example in order to help you to see what the steps are. Briefly, I'm going to repeat 4 steps. What usually we do, because the process is actually taken from NLP technique, and in NLP we use, well, observation, body language, and all those things are really kind of important. But majority of coaching sessions, at least in my coaching community, we conduct over the Skype, and not always we use video channel. In my practice, I practically never use video channel, so I rely on just a voice communication. And as a result, the work related to observation and body language, we're supposed to judge by audio channel. Yeah? So we need to train our ears, and we need to conduct the whole process in such a way that it's possible to implement through Skype or audio kind of communication with your client. So it gives a little bit kind of challenges, but from other hand, it can be adapted. I've done that particular 4-step process multiple times. Yeah, I think dozens of times, and it works very well, even though I cannot have like a full power of observation, which I usually have when I work with clients like physically face to face. Nevertheless, it's a useful, powerful tool. It works, and now I will guide you what you need to do. Well, you have certain particular statement or belief which you will be working as a starting point, which you need to reframe, or you would like to reframe. Of course, you're supposed to have a full agreement, from your client side. Yeah. And what we do is that after investigating the whole situation, I ask my client to formulate the statement, to formulate what kind of belief he has. Last time, Asama came up with a certain particular statement. Asama, by the way, I would like just to have a confirmation from you. Are you okay if we continue and finish the process? Do you have any objections, or are you kind of give me a green light to finish what we started? Okay, perfect. So in this case, so I'm going to repeat just for people who were not present last time. So the idea was, again, we skipped lots of details. I cannot conduct a proper session. Yeah, we just do it kind of educational, piece by piece thing. Asama, I asked Asama to come up with some kind of limiting belief, in order to work with, and he came up with the fear of insects, specifically cockroaches. And as a result, he formulated his statement. Would be really great actually to type it again. Who present last time? I think Svetlana, Yvonne, Irene. If you were present last time, could you please type, because otherwise I will be typing and not be able to talk. But I remember, like in general terms, it was the initial statement is that Asama felt, I would say, hopeless, and his hands kind of tied in relation to get rid of fear of cockroaches. So somehow, after that was the initial statement. So I would like to, or I have a fear of cockroaches, and I feel helpless to change and to get rid of that fear. I mean, that's the statement, at least the way I remember it. Asama, if you have your own adjustments and your own words, I would appreciate if you type it. Okay, Yvonne, that's how Yvonne remember it. I am helpless, exactly. I think it was level of the kind of lowest level, helpless. My hands are tied. Based on this, I cannot do anything. Yeah, perfect. That was the statement. Asama, if you agree, please confirm. So, or if not, please help us to use some other words which will resonate with your starting limiting statement or limiting belief. So because it's very important to use our client's words. Help us. Yeah, help us, exactly. Okay. Okay, perfect. So after that, guys, after your client formulated like initial starting point statement, what, guys, do you remember what we've done next step? Because I would like, of course I can tell you, but I would like you to use your memory right now, because that's the best way to reinforce what you know already. Do you remember what we've done next? After I worked with Osama and he formulated the initial statement which we both agree to change. Yeah. What we've done. Ivan, positive intention. Okay. Yvonne, are you asking me, can I move, to move where? I mean, yeah, right now I'm not at my hometown. I'm in France, and here I don't have a cable. Yeah, I do use a wireless. Guys, can you hear me? Can you hear me properly? Because Yvonne seems like cannot hear me, because I don't want to talk if no one can hear me. Step, can you move? Are you wireless? Yeah, I'm not sure what, I'm not sure if I understand about wireless. It was step, not very clear. Sound is okay. Okay, 4 spaces. All right, perfect. Yeah, I see that you remember something. Well, you all kind of in the right direction, but just for you to remember, guys, before you can move your client anywhere, before you introduce the idea of steps, before you start kind of that guidance about spatial kind of steps related to the whole process, we need to ask him to formulate the statement which we will be using as a hook, yeah, the final one, yeah. So let me just, if I use my annotation tools, I'm gonna just maybe use, let me just for you to have a kind of visual. So we're gonna okay, format, and yeah, I'm gonna use this particular, and yeah, okay. So guys, we ask our client here to formulate a limiting statement, yeah, or limiting belief. We will be working with that belief. Why it is important to formulate the last one? Well, because before to move anywhere, yeah, we don't know where to move. Maybe we need to move to this direction. We need to have a final statement. That's the first thing you need to do after you have initial statement. Do you agree, guys? Does it make sense? We're supposed to have a full agreement with our client where he wants to be as a result of our intervention, yeah? So what I was asking Sam, okay, as soon as we formulated the initial statement, I asked him, well, if you would think about some belief or some statement which you consider really empowering, almost like an opposite, almost like a destination point, instead of this belief, what kind of belief you would like to have? And do you remember what Osama came up with? What kind of statement he formulated? We need to write down it again, because that's the statement which we will be working towards too. Yvonne, Svetlana, if you do remember what was the final statement or destination statement, could you please type? Osama, if you could help me as well, that would be really great. Because we're supposed to move our client to the destination point, and right now we are working with a limiting statement. So the final statement which Osama would like to have. Yeah? wants to be neutral to seeing cockroaches. Okay, yeah, that's a final, that's a kind of final goal. Not to feel anything. Okay, yes, neutral. All right, so the initial statement was, I feel my hands tight and I feel helpless, and the statement which Asama would like to have is that I feel neutral, I feel at ease. I would say I feel okay to deal with cockroaches, or somehow to observe them, or to deal with them. Yeah? Okay, so that's going to be our final kind of destination point, which we would like to our client to be. So we would like to install this particular statement or belief. I'm okay. I don't feel any negative kind of feeling when I towards cockroaches. Yeah, when I see them. Yeah. All right. So as soon as we formulate it, then it become clear, because that's now we have direction. Yeah, we have initial statement and we have a. So how we are going to work together? How we are going to work towards it? Because what we immediately feel, there is a huge gap. Here we feel gap. One statement is very far away from another statement, and usually it's like, how you could even believe that you are okay with cockroaches if right now you are not okay. So that's where reframing and all that art of sleight of mouse or reframing techniques come along. Yeah, we need to use a specific tools which well known in NLP as reframing patterns. And here, guys, we are using two types of patterns. The first part, in order to make this particular step, first one, in order to move our client to the second statement, which he will agree with, which he is going to feel like it's true, but it's not going to be initial one anymore. We will use positive intention reframing pattern. Yep. And now I would like you to tell me, what do you know about positive intention pattern? What is the essence of it? So just type what comes to your mind when you hear about positive intention. What is it? What kind of term is that? Positive intention about what? And why we are calling that particular reframing pattern as a positive intention? Any ideas? Okay, when the causation of the limit in belief. Okay. What was the point? Yeah, okay, great. Perfect. Not as negative or limiting. Okay, Yvonne. Any other ideas, guys? Why we call this particular reframing pattern as a positive intention pattern? Let me close. Well, okay, I think I cannot move it forward. I need to actually remove all my drawings, clear all drawings. Okay, now I can move forward. I'm gonna show you. So we were at that particular point. We would like to make next step, towards our final destination, and we use here positive intention reframing patterns. Guys, idea is quite simple. It's one of the NLP presuppositions, meaning that we are taking it as like an axiom, or something which is we believe in. The idea is that before someone, or our client, for example, formed some limiting negative belief, before that particular belief served a purpose. Guys, that's the essence of the positive intention reframing pattern, is that no matter how negative current belief looks like, there was a reason why our client formed it. And why the point is that in order to have limiting belief, you need to repeat the when the belief become a belief. Yeah, I'm sorry for that kind of, when something or any kind of statement will become a belief, when you have a enough amount of repetition. Yeah, so you're supposed to repeat and repeat and repeat and reinforce and do it again and again, and then whatever statement is kind of sinking into your body. Yeah, it has a kind of somatic roots in it. So as a result, we already don't need any reinforcement. We just believe it's something which you know that's how it is, even though it could be totally not true, but it doesn't matter. Because of the repetition, it gets into the system. So why would someone repeat anything if it's not serving the purpose? So that's why, even though right now or later on circumstances could change, yeah, and lots of things could change, and our belief which served a certain positive purpose looks like it's negative, because something which moved maybe or helped you in certain particular part of your life later on could be an obstacle. And that's what happens with, it's like almost like some kind of outdated thing. But in the beginning, when we formed it, it always served some particular purpose. And that purpose was positive. Otherwise, why would you repeat it if it was not serving some positive, benefit as a result? Does it make sense, guys, what positive intention is and why it's called as a positive intention? So it's almost like a kind of Chinese yin yang, yeah? In the middle of, seems like a negative thing, in the middle. Do you remember that, yeah, let me just draw it probably. It's a classical kind of, for example, Chinese yin yang kind of, I'm sorry, it's not, it doesn't look like a circle, but, it's like this could be black and another could be white, but the idea is that yin yang, yeah, they're like a opposite forces. But the point is that in the middle of white thing there is a black spot. In the middle of black spot there is a white thing. That's how, like that antagonistic kind of forces. If you go deep enough in one particular side, you will discover other. And here we are going, yeah, it's maybe it looks like a negative belief. It seems like has no any positive purpose. But if you dig deep enough, you will discover actually it was a positive thing. Maybe, I don't know, 20 years ago or whatever. And that's, that's what happens with the, that's why the, okay, it's quite clear. Perfect. I see, Ren, thank you very much for confirming it. All right, let me just remove that drawing. And that's what we use in order to move, in order to reframe our client current statement, to move it closer to the destination. So in Asama case, last Thursday, we did already that part. And again, if you do it thoroughly, you could really find powerful, multiple positive intentions behind certain particular belief. But in our case, we took just one particular part. I asked Asama several questions. What could be the reason? For example, Asama came up with the idea that because he observed how his mother reacted on the cockroaches, and that's somehow installed that particular reaction, that particular kind of behavior. It was, from childhood, it was installed in his system as a result. Yeah? So mother was almost like a model. Yeah, he just modeled that reaction, and without questioning, yeah, is it really kind of appropriate or not? But when I ask several more questions and we come up with some, but like, what could be the positive reason behind his mother behavior? And one of the things which we discovered, that mother was taking care of, environment and household. Yeah, she was keeping it clean. And when you have that particular purpose and you see those insects are crawling all over the place, well, your reaction could be very clear. Get rid of them immediately, almost like a panicking kind of type, and it's kind of disgusting after you clean everything. you see those cockroaches. So it's totally understandable. The reaction is understandable, but the intention behind it to keep maybe kitchen or household clean, isn't it positive? Of course it is. And I'm sure it could be some other reasons, but right now, for educational purposes, it was already enough for us to demonstrate how the initial statement can be changed using this particular additional information. That the whole thing, the source of the whole confusion, the whole kind of attitude towards cockroaches maybe came just because Osama's mother was trying to keep the kitchen clean, which is totally positive. And Osama, could you please type, and if you do remember what kind of statement Osama came as a result of that. I asked my client, would you be so kind, please, to change your initial statement in such a way that you incorporate that new information, that positive part which we discovered. So I would like to see how that statement will be enriched by this new information. Yeah, that was my question to Osama when I was moving him, or we were designing that next statement. Yeah? And Yvonne, in reaction to my mom's interest to keep the house clean, I've been brought up to feel the fear against cockroaches. Perfect. Thank you very much, Yvonne. I really appreciate it. Yeah. Osama, if you agree with that statement, would you please confirm, kind of type yes or no? And if no, if you would like to add some words, you are more than welcome to amend Ivana's kind of statement if she doesn't remember her correctly. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, I agree. Ivana's memory is great. I mean, I wouldn't. I think it was almost ideally kind of ideal repetition. Perfect. So, guys, what we've done so far, we were using we used in positive intention reframing pattern, like a searching for positivity behind so-called negative, pure kind of starting negative statement. And now, I already asked last time, Osama, how does it feel? Is it really true? How do you feel when you state it? And last time, Osama confirmed that actually, I think he said 90, yeah, some kind of 90 or 95, I don't remember the kind of number, but it's actually in the up to not 100%, but 90% true. It feels true. But you see that the statement is so much softer. We already moved our client, to the the process of changing his belief started. We made first step. Guys, right now we are doing together like a linguistic part of that, changing the statement process. But in order to incorporate it like kinesthetically into the client's body, last time I told you what you need to do. You need to ask your client if he can move. For example, sometimes people have and they don't even use headset. Yeah, they could just talk to with computer without wire. Yeah, or make speaker louder. Or if the sensitivity of their microphone allow them, they could walk. Or maybe they have a headset which are wireless. I mean, it's all depending on your your client's settings. I mean, I usually, so far I try to use wireless. It doesn't work very well, so I use not wireless, like wired headset, but I have 5 meters of that wire. So it depends on how your client kind of set up. You could, ideally, you could actually move your client through the whole kinesthetic experience of the change belief process. And what it will require your client to stand up, to a point, to take piece of paper, to tear that paper on the 4 parts, to put, those parts ahead of him, like 4 steps ahead. So he's supposed to find direction where he could move. And then we place, our client in the first spatial kind of part, spatial space, yeah? And ask him to state the first statement, like a negative one, yeah. Then after we worked with second statement, we asked them, okay, now I would like you to make step forward, and at the same time when you are there, state the second statement out loud and feel it, and feel how true it is. Yeah. And also we could also ask our client if he could associate certain particular, I would say, image or color or feeling or anything which he could describe in order to have a description how that second state, like a spatial point, is different from the first one. So in case of Osama, I would like just to repeat that process, yeah. So I would like you right now to step into the first point. If you can move, I remember last time you said that you can move. No, those steps doesn't need to be big ones. I think it's like, I don't know, 1.5 meters is totally fine to make 4 steps. Yeah, those 4 steps doesn't need to be huge. And if you don't feel like placing on the floor any piece of paper, yeah, don't. It doesn't matter. Just making steps is totally fine. So what I would like you to do is to step in the initial point and to state the first statement out loud. I'm gonna unmute you. I think right now your microphone is supposed to work.
Hello?
Yes, perfect. I can hear you very clearly. Very nice. So would you be so kind, please, to stand up and to face the direction where you will be able to make 4 steps, and
Okay.
feel that the first statement in your body. So as soon as you will be pronouncing again the way the first initial statement formulated, I would like you to feel it.
Okay. So shall I say it loud and
Yes.
I just...
Yeah.
Okay. I'm helpless. My hands are tied, and I just feel I cannot do anything with it.
Yeah. Okay. So close your eyes and feel it, and any kind of association which comes to your mind, if any description, any feelings in your body, or any color, or any symbol, or anything what's arising in your, arising in your mind, you could share it with us.
It's somehow a tight chest, like feeling weak. Hands as well. Also, it feels somehow as if crippled.
Yeah. Okay. So there is a sensation in the chest. Which part, which part of the chest? Where approximately?
It's somehow between the lower part of my neck to the left side and the heart.
Yeah. Okay, clear. So lower part of neck and left side of the chest. Yeah. Somehow, yeah, it's not heart exactly, but somehow kind of shoulder heart kind of type of area. And also some tightness in the hands. So guys, please pay attention that Osama, when I asked him to describe it, so he moved to the kinesthetic properties. He actually practically moved, if you're familiar with NLP, in the area of submodalities. Yeah. So some areas of kinesthetic kind of tightness and so on, so on. Some people will move in the area of feelings, for example. Some people will move. So there are different types. Usually, I'm trying not to direct people where to move. I give them choice because people have preferences. Obviously, Osama has some kind of kinesthetic, awareness. Yeah, awareness about his body properties. So he moved into the kinesthetic descriptions. It's perfect. It's great. So Asam, I would like you right now to make a step forward, and at the same time as you arrive there, to state out loud the second statement, which we already created.
The second, which mean it's about the one that is with positive articulation.
Yes.
Or the
Exactly.
second.
The second
Okay.
one, which already incorporating the positive intention, which Yvonne kind of recalled and typed.
Okay.
So, yeah, I can tell you in reactions to mom's interest to keep the house clean. Yeah, that kind of.
So in reaction to my mom interest to keep our house clean, then there was this impact on me during my the way I brought up, that I tend to feel the fear of cockroaches.
Yeah, I've been brought up to feel the fear against cockroaches. All right, so again, guys, what we usually do is that I ask my client to repeat it several times, to close his eyes. Right now, it's not essential. I just want you to see what we are doing. So the purpose, actually, final purpose, what you are doing, you're supposed to connect that statement, which is just a concept, somehow with his body. Yeah. So we ask your client to feel it and to describe how it feels differently. If you repeat right now, maybe I don't need to force you to do it because it's like educational part of thing. But I would be insisting to repeat it unless you feel it. And when you feel it in your body, I would ask several questions. How the feeling is different from the first point, which you were just several minutes ago, and the client's supposed to give, obviously the feeling will be different. So guys, idea is to connect the statement, which just a bunch of words, to the more powerful properties which your client has as an anchor. In Asama case, it's a kinesthetic ones. But maybe some people will come up with the feelings or descriptions or whatever, or symbols or colors, or so you could relate how those colors are, what kind of color is now, or how your feelings are now in that new point when you are pronouncing out loud that new statement. Yeah. So let's imagine that. Yeah, if you can repeat it if you're okay with that, or maybe you already have some sensation. You could repeat it. Maybe. Yeah. Please try, Asama.
Now less tense. This tightness in chest, it's not there, and the whole thing is my mind is shifting more, that I know what was behind it.
Yeah.
I feel I can be on top of it, and the thing goes, how can I have the courage to do it?
Yeah. Okay. Good.
To moving forward now.
Yeah. Perfect. So, guys, after some work with our client, we already have some shift. First of all, some kinesthetic properties already changed, and we are connecting that statement already, kind of getting that incorporated into his body. He already feels differently, and what right now in his mind is how to make a next step, how to have a courage actually to deal with those cockroaches without any feelings. Yeah. Okay, that's perfect. That's already great shift. And now, guys, what we'll be doing with our client, we will be making next step. So the first or second step already done. In order to make the third one, which is to move him even closer to the final statement, we will be using second reframing pattern, and that pattern called redefine. Yeah. So how to redefine his current statement to the new one? Well, usually it works like this. The idea behind redefining pattern is very, very simple. Idea is to take some linguistic parts of the previous statement, the parts which you think has some kind of negativity still, or the parts which you think a little bit harsh, a little bit tough, a little bit stiff, yeah, and substitute it with the different words, which is almost the same, but not softer. Yeah, does it make sense, guys? So, for example, I'm gonna give you just clear kind of definition of what redefined pattern is. You see it right now on your screen. Substituting a new word for one of the words used in the belief statement that means something similar but has a different implications. Again, now we need to be creative and see what can be done. So right now, the current statement which we are working with, a summer statement which we have right now in the second step, in reactions to my mom's interest to keep the house clean, I've been brought up to feel the fear against cockroaches. And I asked you last time, what kind of part do you think you need to work with in order to soften it up, in order to shake it and make it softer, in order to open, some kind of stiff element in it? So what is the most stiff and harsh part of this particular statement? Guys, what's your opinion?
It's
What kind of
fear.
words? Please.
It's the word fear.
Yeah, to feel the fear. Exactly. I agree with you. I would be, if I would, if I be working as a coach with you, I would be paying attention to a number of words here. For example, brought up to feel the fear. That sounds to me kind of a little bit sinister. I mean, like serious. I am just curious, what about your mother? I mean, what do you think? Was it her intention to brought you up to feel the fear?
It's more into the protect side.
So, guys, right now I would like us to brainstorm. What do you think? How redefined pattern usually works? We usually are looking for some words which, if we substitute that current part with the new words, it actually will be telling the same thing, but in a different way. Softer, more open, yeah, more loose, warmer, whatever. So I would like right now together to work on that part which I already posted in our chat window, and I would like you to come up with the words or kind of phrase which will be perfect substitution for the one which I already posted. So in order to use it, instead of brought up to feel the fear, what would you use? What kind of words? I would use to protect me from the dirt of cockroaches. Okay, perfect, Assam, I like it. Okay, great. Any other ideas? Guys, please use your imagination, use your kind of linguistic kind of capabilities and come up with something which would make sense, yeah? And again, of course, I will be the whole idea is that I will be working with my client, not with a bunch of other people, but with a client to come up with with other words which feels good and which feels not as harsh. Asama, if you could come up with any other words which somehow resonate more or feels better, but the meaning would be similar or the same. Because sometimes, Asama, sometimes maybe optimistically you could come up with some statement which is far away from the initial one, and then you feel that, yeah, well, the gap is too big. So brought up to feel the fear, that was the part which we would like to redefine. And right now you came up with to protect me from the dirt of cockroaches. Yeah, I think it's some kind of yeah, it's in tune with the positive intention behind it. But this is, it's a great stuff. It's also can be used, but redefine pattern is not a positive intention pattern. So I would like you just to be clear that it's not about completely change it and find some positive kind of aspect behind it. Redefine pattern is to say the same, but to use different words. Does it make sense, guys, how it's different? I don't want you to be how to say it, to see no difference between positive intention and redefined pattern. There is a big difference. In redefined pattern, we are saying practically the same. We are not changing the meaning. We are using different words. That's it. Yeah. I will wait for 1 more minute. And again, you know, it's a creative process. I cannot give you a guarantee that right now we will come up with a perfect kind of phrase or whatever, because usually in a session you're supposed to work with your client, discuss it, and so on and so on. But I could kind of imagine, I could come up, for example, with my version, which probably maybe not will be ideal, you know, because the final version is supposed to come up, you know, come from the client. Okay, I did develop. I was brought up. So the statement which we chose to work with brought up to feel the fear. And for example, if I would say brought up to, if you would brought up to be aware of bacteria, or I mean, again, maybe it's not the best, it's not always the best way, but to be aware. I just want to change, you know, to feel the fear, but actually, what you could be brought up to be aware of the, you know, dirt of you know, insects, or to be aware of what other words we could use here?
I proposed also, I got some.
Okay, let me check.
I got some negative feelings against cockroach.
I got some negative feelings against. Oh yeah, perfect. That's also good. I like it. You brought up to, as a result, yeah. As a result, you eventually you brought up to get some negative feelings against cockroaches. Well, the question is, right now I have to my client, yeah, Sama. When you read first statement, to brought up to feel the fear, and second statement, to brought up, or to get some, to brought up having some negative feelings against cockroaches. Does it feel to you as a big gap, or you feel that actually it's true?
It's true, and it's not as worrying as the one before. It has less of threatening, less of weakness, you know. When I used here, it's more of negative impact on me to feel weak, but when it is about negative feelings against cockroaches, I'm still there, not that weak. I have better sense of self strength than it was statement.
Okay,
so
perfect.
I'm more happy with myself than, yeah.
Perfect, guys. So as a result, Asama, thank you very much. It was brilliant, brilliant version, and came from you. I'm very happy to have it, and to get it brought up, being brought up, having some negative feelings. Yeah, let me just try to combine brought up, just to type here, having.
Can take brought up away at Alex.
Yeah. So I tried right now to combine some kind of statement which we eventually come up as a step number 3. So it sounds more or less like, in relation to my mom's interest to keep the house clean, I've been brought up having some negative feelings against cockroaches. So again, guys, what I'm supposed to do right now is to take my client one step forward, ask him to repeat several times. If we need to make some adjustments, if it's too much of stretch, if my client suddenly will start feeling that, well, I really don't believe that particular statement, it's a little bit too far away, then we are going to change and work with the words again. So the idea is that the feeling that it's true supposed to be there, supposed to be strong enough, and we're supposed to work together with his, in the summer case, kinesthetic properties in order to reinforce it and make him feel it when he will be citing, he will be repeating that statement again and again. So as a result, the step number 3, now we have a statement which already really far away from initial one. So the next step, we're supposed to move him into the final statement. So he's supposed to feel neutral. Yeah? And here in the last point, we could do some additional, like a procedures which would allow him to feel it. So I usually use some kind of submodalities or some feeling. It depends on where my client is and what his preference system is. So in case of Osama, I would really pay attention to his kind of feeling in the chest or hands, and I would ask him, to come up with the feelings which he wants to be. What I would do is that I would take him, after he was in the step number 3, spot number 3, long enough, I would ask him to step out, to shake his current state, to jump into the final state, describe what kind of submodalities, what kind of kinesthetic properties he has in the final step, and see, see what is still mismatching, yeah, in terms of his kinesthetic properties. So this is already kind of final tuning. But as a result, I hope you could see now the whole process. If you do it thoroughly, usually that particular 4-step process is supposed to take maybe, I don't know, 40 minutes, like a thoroughly done, yeah. And as a result, you are gonna shift, the whole initial statement to the final one. What you will be doing also as a final tuning is that you will be moving your client several times from first to the last in the 4 steps. So move him, okay, let's do it again. You're in the first statement. Step forward, step forward, step forward, bumps, arrived. And moving him kinesthetically through the 4 steps. Every time he feels, the change in the body. And that's how we install the new statement. That's how we make a transition. And the important thing is that when your client will be stating the final statement, he is gonna feel that it's true. It's totally not false. It's already in his body. He believes in it. So that's how the whole belief change process take place. And as you notice that we used 2 reframing patterns. The first one was positive intention. Tell me, please, which spatial point we used positive intention in order to arrive to? Could you please type? We used positive intention in order to arrive to which point? If you type, I would appreciate it. second statement. Perfect, Asana. Thank you very much. And we used second redefine button in order to arrive to which point? I hope you guys, you are with me, because no one seems like typing, just someone is typing. Okay, third, perfect, Svetlana. Thank you very much. So we used two types of reframing patterns, positive intention and redefine, in order to make first three steps. And the final one again, it's done through, at least I do it through final tuning. And how final tuning again take place? Very simple. I use description of my client's description of his properties, yeah, like kinesthetic ones or submodalities or feelings or symbols or whatever my client comes, I am using it. So I have a full inventory kind of description of this state. So I move him out of this state. I ask him to shake to get to some kind of neutral position. I ask him to step into the final one, out loud, to say out loud the final statement and describe again inventories, yeah, how he feels, where he feels it, what is the color, what is like, I don't know. I usually actually work with the submodalities because I believe it's a very powerful kind of type of tools for us to use. So as a result, I see that there are number of submodalities here and there are numbers here. So I'm comparing those two types of submodalities. I do the work in order to install the missing ones. So it's like almost like a final tuning between those two last positions, between number 3 and number 4. So that's how the last bridge is created. The first one, positive intention bridge, yeah. Second one, redefine bridge. And this one is going to be submodalities of final tuning bridge. And as a result, your client having a new belief and he feels it in his body and he is happy. Yeah, well, Asama, I'm sorry, with educational type of session, I cannot really kind of do it properly with you, but at least I hope the whole process has become kind of clear. Guys, do you have any questions? Is the whole process is clear? Tell me, please, if it is clear, confirm, please, yes, clear. And is it clear what positive intention reframing pattern is? What redefine pattern is? Okay, perfect. And if you need some more practice, guys, you're more than welcome to practice that in your real coaching sessions. And again, I will be soon inviting you into the more thorough type of training. We started from September. We will be using Trello boards and going into the multiple practical sessions without any theoretical material anymore, just for people who would like to, because we need to practice and practice and practice that stuff, yeah. It seems like kind of clear, but when you start doing yourself, you will see that, oh, I'm not quite sure here, I'm not quite sure there. But at least I think the foundation you already have. So thanks a lot. I hope it was useful, and I will see you next Thursday. We will be moving into the new area of exploring like 12 more reframing patterns. So we will not be going for the 12, but one by one we will be covering lots of other amazing, powerful reframing patterns. Right now, 2: positive intention and redefine, yeah, which also need lots of practice, of course. Svetlana, Asama, Monica, Yvonne, Irene, thanks a lot. I wish you a great week, and we'll talk next Thursday. Bye-bye, everyone. Asama, thanks a lot for your help and for your willingness to be a client. Yeah, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Yeah. Okay, guys. Bye-bye, everyone. Yep.
Thanks for everybody.
Yep. Good evening to everyone.
Bye-bye. Good evening. Bye.
Yeah. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.